Please welcome Piers Prior, Formula 3 driver. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Very chill. Just chilling down in lockdown. Yeah, thanks for inviting me on. It's quite very
That's all
cool.
right.
Hopefully I can answer some questions and be interesting a little bit.
Well, thank you for coming on and getting involved. I presume you've always been a fan of motorsport.
Yeah, of course. Of course I have. Always. My dad is my mum and dad are interested in motorsport, and we used to go to racetracks when I was, ever since I was a toddler. Ever since I can remember, we used to go to racetracks and watch and stuff. And we used to go in the caravan as like a family, and then stay there the whole race weekend. I remember going to the British GT at Rockingham quite a few times and just like running around with my brother and going in. My brother and I used to have competitions, so you could sit in as many race cars as possible when we were like 5 or 6. And so you just like walk into a team awning or a team garage and be like, "Hi, mister, can I sit in your car, please?" And then, yeah, that's I suppose where I got the passion for motorsport. And then I got involved in karting when I was 9 or 10. Never stopped since, really.
Yeah, when did you realise you wanted to do this as a profession almost?
I don't think there was any one point where I was like, "Yeah, this is what I want to do." I think I always enjoyed motorsport. Went karting when I was 9 or 10. Really, really enjoyed it. Wanted to do it as much as I could. Carried on karting, indoor karting, then outdoor karting as I was like 9, 10, 11, 12. Did a bit of outdoor karting. I suppose just built my skill set, I suppose, as I did more and more championships, got more and more races under my belt and stuff. And as I got older, I was like, what do I want to do? What am I good at? I was like, oh, well, racing's quite good fun. I seem to be all right at it. Why don't I give that a go? So that's how I decided. I kind of just fell into place, really, just what I wanted to do. Obviously, it's quite tricky to get drives and get yourself in places. So obviously I've been trying to do that for the last, I don't know how many years. And I suppose it all culminated last year with Formula 3, which unfortunately didn't go as well as I'd hoped. But, my first year in cars, it was a great experience to actually finally get to drive in the series that as I just mentioned, I've been watching the British GT and British Formula 3 from once I was like 5, 6 years old. So that was very, very cool.
Yeah, obviously, like you say, you've been watching it for a long time. Were there any role models that influenced you with your love for racing, or any drivers?
I suppose because I started getting interested in motorsport when I was about 10 years old. So that would have been about 2007, 2008. I've been watching Formula 1 ever since then. And that was obviously the first couple of years that Lewis Hamilton was in Formula 1. So he's always been, the driver to watch. I think the first season I watched properly was the 2007 season. And obviously that was the season that Lewis Hamilton entered the series and had a really good showing. And then obviously everyone knows what he's done since then. So he's got to be one of them. I also really enjoyed watching Alonso as well. He was also the driver that inspired me when I was younger. But also going back to the Formula 3 when I was watching, I remember actually being taken in by the Double R team when I was I must have been 7 years old at Rockingham. And they took me into their awning and showed me around. And I remember speaking to, I think it was Antti Burri was racing for the team at the time. Yeah, right, so that's a name that's a long way back. I think he races in TCR now or something. But I remember him showing me like the car and sitting in the car and showing me his race helmet and stuff. I suppose that wasn't an inspiration racing wise. That was more just pretty cool to think back that I was like a little fanboy of a Formula 3 driver, and then obviously last year I was racing Formula 3. Yeah, so those two mostly. And then actually when I was younger, I really enjoyed watching Sebastian Loeb as well in rallying. Yeah. I thought he was when he was absolutely dominating in the late 2000s, so early into the mid to late 2000s. So yeah, just being enjoying motorsport and seeing those guys be successful was, I suppose, my inspiration. But I don't really think I have like a driver that I aspire to be like or anything like that. I just enjoy racing because I enjoy doing it and I enjoy being part of the sport. Realistically, driving is what I enjoy the most. If I could do it all the time, I would. I sim race whenever I can. I drive in the real world as much as I can. Obviously, that's a lot less often than I would like, but that's the same for everyone, I suppose, because it obviously is very expensive. But that's pretty much my inspiration story behind wanting to become a racing driver. Anyway.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned earlier that you obviously started in go-karting. How did that start? Where did you look to start with, and how did that begin?
I'm from near Colchester in Essex, so I actually there was a circuit that is now unfortunately closed down about 10 years ago now, but it was called IndyCart in Colchester. It was a little indoor circuit, and pretty much like any indoor circuit, just a warehouse where they've built a kart circuit, put loads of tyres round. Literally just went with my brother once for an arrive and drive. just had to go. As soon as I was old enough, I was 9. My brother was, I think, just 8. So because he's 2 years younger than me, so I think I was 9 or 10. Had a go. It was really good fun. And I picked it up pretty quickly, I think. And then they said, "Oh, there's a little junior club they had going there." So they said, every second Saturday, come join for 30 quid. You get, races throughout the morning. So I just did that every 2 weeks when I was younger. Really, really enjoyed that. And then I think just got the bug from there. Then, it's up and up from there. So I did the little indoor karting, and then I went to Buckmore Park from there because it's only about an hour away, just over. Did their junior club there. Then from there, I joined Honda Cadet Clubman at Buckmore, which is where you go into owner drivers, and I have my own little kart with the Honda GX160 engine. And then I went to Minimax and Rotax, and stopped that for a while. Was doing a lot of hire karting in my sort of mid to late teens. Again, a lot of Buckmore, but also all over, doing random races, different championships and whatever, just basically racing as much as I could as much as I could, really. And then when I was sort of 18, 19 and I left school, I thought, right, it's a time where if I want to do it properly, I had to fully go for it. So we're trying to get a driving Formula 4 when I was about 17, 18, 19. Unfortunately, that never came through. So I went to university. I went to Loughborough University to study automotive materials engineering, and really enjoyed that. Was still racing there, still racing karting a lot. Did X30 at Wilton Mills while I was at university. That was really, really good for learning. And then last year, obviously, got the opportunity with Lannon to race in Formula 3, which was awesome. So that was pretty much my progression through. But I think most of the driving I've done has actually been in hire karting. So
Really?
Buckmore Park, Club 100, British University Karting Championship. But it's not the level that maybe if I had the choice, I would have loved to have raced in the British Championship, Super One as it was at the time. Now the British, the British Karting Championship as it is now. But it's, I just did what I could. The good thing about hire karting is you get a lot of seat time for not a huge amount of money. So I got, bang for the buck. I think I did very well when I was younger, which allowed me to get to the level I am now without maybe without an eye-watering budget. But really, really, really enjoyed my racing in the last, I don't know how long I've been racing now. 15, 14 years, something like that. So
yeah,
really, really enjoyed it. I'm still loving it to this day. Obviously what I'm doing now has changed quite a bit, but really, really enjoy it. I'm just a big fan of driving and competition, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. Just enjoying it. That's what I always say to anyone that says, why do you do it? I just enjoy it. It's what I want to do, what I like doing.
Yeah. And obviously, with your hire karting, you were teammates with Michael Crease.
Yeah.
So
actually, Michael and I used to race at Buckmore. As I said, I was racing when I was sort of late teens at Buckmore Park. Yeah. We were in the same hire karting team at Buckmore, and they used to run a 6-hour championship where they do 4 6-hour races throughout the year. And I just, from racing at Buckmore, you get to meet different people around who are doing the same series. He was just a bloke that lived nearby that enjoyed karting, and I ended up in the same team as him. We're good mates, still good mates to this day. He's a great laugh. He's one of life's characters. He's very charismatic and full on character, and he does everything 100% on and off circuit, which is obviously why he's he's a bloody good driver. He's sorry swearing. He's a really good driver, and he's obviously doing very well for himself now. He's managed to his business side is out of racing life has gone very well, which has allowed him to progress through the sport quite quickly into the touring cars. And just we were racing together, I think, in 2015, 2016 in hire karting, and now he's in the British, or has done 2 seasons in the British touring cars. He's done really well for himself, and I'm, we still catch up every now and again, message here and there. If we see each other at the track, we definitely say hello. So that's very cool. I'd love to be in his position if I got the chance as well. Touring cars is something I've always watched as well when growing up. So yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah, it's funny because I told him, because I knew you two knew each other, and I told him, but I'd be interviewing you, and he said to me, make sure you ask him he said something like, when you had the same amount of weight in the car, he apparently outpaced you. He wanted me to ask you about that.
No, he loves this story. He thinks he's faster than me.
Right, I see.
We always have this niggling thing, because when we were high karting at Buckmore, there was no weight in the kart. So obviously I was 15, 16, I was a lot lighter, which inherently meant I was quicker in general because I didn't weigh anything. And he's a fully grown man. He's actually trimmed down now compared to what he was. So, but then, I think he's alluding to the Henry Surtees Foundation race, where in the final he went from 16th to 2nd and got the fast lap of the race by 2/10. But if I'm going to come back and say, well, I was quicker than him in every practice and qualifying, and final up to then, so you can go and tell him that. But no, we always having a good niggle. So we're always going to think I'm always going to think I'm faster than him. He's always going to think he's faster than me. But no, he's a very, very good driver, and to be honest, he's done very well considering he came to the sport so late. He did pick it up really quickly, and I think it was only his second or third year in hire karting when I raced with him. So I'd been racing for 7-8 years before even as a junior before I even raced against him. So all ribbing aside and whatever, no, he's a very good driver. He's very quick, and I think often because he's seen as sort of an AM driver, he's an older guy, he's got his own business, and that's how he gets into racing. Sometimes people discount their ability due to that, but I think this season in BTC, you've seen a few times this year how close he's got to his two very established teammates in Tom Chilton and Josh Cook. They're some of the best guys. They've raced in world touring cars, British touring cars, race winners in both of those. And Creasy, just a bloke basically. He's only he's often within a tenth or so of them in qualifying, which is, I think it's really testament to him. He's a great guy, but very, very, very entertaining guy at the same time. But he's quick behind the wheel, which is why he deserves, I think, everything he's done so far.
Yeah, definitely. And what advice would you give to anyone wanting to get into karting? And if they don't know where to start, where do they begin?
To get into karting if they've never done it before or not done it properly? Is that what you're asking? Any
advice you'd give to starting?
I mean, becoming professional in motorsport is very, very tricky. I mean, I'm been in Formula 3, and as it stands this year, I have absolutely no racing plans. I don't have any offers or anything as it stands at the moment, which is a bit sad, but obviously it's part of the way of the world. But it's just in terms of getting involved in the sport, just do it for fun. There's so many indoor circuits and outdoor circuits around. I was saying, I don't know how stats on this, but I would imagine 95% of the population have got somewhere they can go within 45 minutes. There'll be an indoor track or an outdoor track, and just go and have a go and have fun. That's what I've been doing for the last 14 years, is just driving around having fun. I enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. And you never know, you might be the next Lewis Hamilton, but you also might just be someone who enjoys karting at the weekend with their mates. Who knows? But yeah, just go have fun. Racing, I think, is really the thing where you get the most out of karting. Driving around and perfecting that time is one thing, but I get my buzz from racing wheel to wheel with people. That's what I love doing. I love being in the action. So once you're competent enough to actually lap fairly consistently and not have confidence not to crash too much on your own, then you can get into racing and just join the local. Every kart circuit has their own little local races, and just join that and see how you fare. And even if you don't do well, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, karting's supposed to be fun. And just enjoy it. Just get involved.
Absolutely. So last season, Formula 3. How did that begin? How did the offer come about? Where did that start?
It was a bit crazy, really. I was at university I'm just in my final year. Just graduated in June, so I was literally in January knuckling down for my January exams, and effectively out of the blue, my parents have been working in the background along with my sort of management, and they said, there's a chance you might have a driving Formula 3 this year. And this was January, and I had no idea, and I was like, what? And they said, yeah, we've they'd helped and looked around in the background, found Lannon, and they were interested in me, and we were interested in them, and it all came about very last minute. I think I was announced into the end of February, I think, and then lockdown came about, so it's postponed. But it was an opportunity that I never thought would come, and it did, and I took it with both hands, and it was a really, really great experience. It was also my first experience of actually driving the same car, more than once, because everything I'd done before, I just had a one-off drive. So I did a race in the Mini Challenge in 2016, where that was a prize I won in a karting event. Again, one race weekend. So Friday practice, Saturday in qualifying, Saturday race, Sunday race. That was it. So to get the opportunity to not only in Formula 3, but get my teeth fully into a season of car racing in one car, really get my head around it was awesome. And I really, really enjoyed actually having the opportunity to drive the same car over and over and over, because I've had that in karting, where you get to a stage where driving the kart becomes second nature, and I'd never had that in a car. And then this season to do drive enough in the Formula 3 car to make it feel like it was mine was really cool, and gained a lot of experience, and I've grown a lot as a driver over this year, having the opportunity to do that. And obviously racing wheel to wheel in the British Formula 3 Championship was awesome. And the first round of the year, I kind of got chucked in at the deep end. It was at Alton Park. I still didn't feel that prepared, because we'd only done a few test days, and I was like, oh God, what am I letting myself into here? And qualifying was not great. I think I had a couple of I went off the exit of Cascades at turn 2 and damaged my suspension about 3 laps in, so missed the best of my tyres and qualified pretty much into the back. And I was like, that was what I really didn't want to do, pushing a bit too hard. But yeah, then so race 1 didn't go great, but then reverse grid in race 2, managed to get a win in my first race weekend, so that was awesome. And then throughout the year, we had mixed results. There was times we were really quick. I think Donington, the first time we went, I was consistently up there in practice. Had really good races, and then it almost seemed like everything went a bit downhill from there, which is a shame. We never really got back to that sort of top 6 at any point during the year, which is a real shame. I don't know, I don't really know why, but it just really struggled from there on and was sort of mid to back of the pack. But regardless, I'm competitive and I always want to do really well for myself, so I was disappointed in that sense. But putting that aside, I was still. It's just incredible to be in the British Formula 3 Championship. Everyone knows the British Formula 3 Championship. The number of drivers who are now in Formula 1, World Endurance Championship, all the main series who have done British Formula 3 is crazy. And to have at least done it is very cool. And to have got a win is very cool. Again, reverse grid, so it's not quite the same, but still.
A win's a win, so...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would like to have got one at some point in a qualifying race, sort of. But is what it is. And I'd love to have another go at the championship this year. But I don't think that's, at this stage, I don't think that's possible, which is a shame. But very cool to have done it. And I hope to at least get a chance to have another season in some cars sometime soon. It's because I don't really feel like I was able to show what I really can do in my first season of car racing. I mean, I'm a bit older than quite a lot of the drivers I was racing against, but experience-wise, my first full season in cars, I'd only just come off my novice license, literally a couple of weeks before the first round at Alton Park. So
really,
yeah. Whereas obviously the other drivers had all done. I think most of them had done Formula 4. A couple of them done a couple of seasons Ginetta Juniors or other series, and so they got. I was ironing out all the bumps because karting and cars are obviously very similar, but there's a lot of differences, like the way you have to build a race weekend and the way the cars drive and just getting used to driving with aero. To be honest, the first 2 or 3 test days that we did before the season, I was still. It took me until the afternoon to actually get on the pace because I didn't trust the car.
Really, yeah.
Whereas by the end of the season, it felt like I was driving a car. To jump in first lap, off you go. You can properly push, which was again very rewarding to be able to see my progress throughout the year in terms of that. And now I've had that season, I know that I can. I'm confident that I can jump in almost any race car now and get to speed pretty quickly. So, very cool year, but disappointing some areas, but very cool in others. So, I'm really glad that I had the opportunity, and I'm hoping to have similar opportunities in the future.
Yeah, obviously, British Formula 3 is, in my opinion, one of the most competitive championships in the UK. I presume it lived up to your expectations.
Oh yeah, hugely competitive. I think the lap times speak for themselves, really. I mean, if you follow it closely, I'm sure you can see the times. I can't remember which circuit it was. Maybe it was Donington National. I think there was 17, 18 cars covered by 8/10 of a second or something, which is, karting levels of closeness. Karting's known for being close, but cars often it's a lot more spread. Whereas, there's 17 cars on the grid. There's 5 or 6 teams who are all of a high standard, and all the drivers are very good. So that's why the times are so close. And I think that's just that final few percent, notches here and there, which make the difference. And obviously, I lack that just this season due to experience. I believe I could have done it. Given a second year, maybe I could have, with the different circumstances, could have really been up there and fighting for wins because I believe I can do it. But it's just a shame that I couldn't in my first season. But I'm happy with the effort. I put everything I could. Sometimes doesn't come off, but no, it's obviously, as you said, it's an amazing series, and you can see how well it's run. You can see the heritage it has. You can see the kudos that it carries, and the coverage it gets is really cool. And to just be mentioned in the realm of British Formula 3 is very cool. So I'm very proud to say that I've been part of it, and
Yeah. And what are the cars like to drive? I presume they're pretty difficult and a big step up from go-karts.
Oh yeah, huge step up from karts. I don't think I didn't know what to expect at the beginning of the year. My first test day, I was like a rabbit in the headlights. Obviously, I'd driven the Formula 1000 at Silverstone in one round the year before, which was similar, but obviously Silverstone National Circuit, I drove that on, so it's pretty much really wide track, long straights, not too many crazy corners. But these cars, you know, they've got a huge amount of aero. It's the high speed grip is the thing that took me the longest to get used to. You know, you really have to push the cars. But the one thing I was really impressed with actually is how forgiving the cars are once you actually start pushing them in the right way. Is they do feel a little bit like a kart. You can feel them move, and you can really push the limit of the tires, and they don't feel like they're gonna, when you're driving them quickly on the limit, they don't feel like they're gonna kill you. They don't feel like they're gonna fire you off. They're not unpredictable. They're really, really nice in general, and if you've got them set up nicely, they're really nice to drive, and you can really play with them and manipulate the car. And that's something I really enjoy getting the hang of throughout the year. So yeah, they're very cool to drive, but you do really feel the speed. Places like, I suppose, Maggotts Beckett's Chapel at Silverstone, where you're flat out. I think the biggest, you know, corner that we went to was at Snetterton, turn 1. You know, it was 145 down the main straight, and turn 1, you know, in quite a lot of the test days we were doing was completely flat out. You just
really?
turn it. Yes, turn 1 at Snetterton, you just 145 miles out, turn in, and if you lift, you lose 2/10. So, you know, and you know, we've seen how close the field is, so you can't lift.
No, I knew Richie's at Snetterton is a fast one, but I didn't know you could take it flat out in.
Yeah,
in
depending on the wind. Depending on the wind, but in the dry, if the track was rubbered in and the wind was in the right direction, it is completely flat out. And that was the corner where I think, you know, you're driving into it and you see the corner coming, you think, right, you sort of have to mentally prepare, brace, be like, I am going to take this flat. And I remember the first time I took it flat, we'd been doing a test, Bart, Josh, and I, and my teammates, and we were going quicker and quicker and quicker. And I was like, right, this session, I reckon the car's capable, we're going to take it flat. So did a few warm-up laps, eat into it, and I was like, right, this lap, I'm going to take it flat. Turn in, and my foot, honestly, my brain was telling my foot, stay down, and my foot would come off, you know, half off, and lap after lap, and I'd lift less and less and less. And I literally had to say, right, one lap, I had to mentally push my foot and then just turn in and push just to stop my foot coming off. And the car just, you know, it's sketchy because you can feel the car moving, but goes round. You're like, well, now I've done it, I have to do it every lap now. So, so that was something. But yeah, corners like that is very cool. Also, for instance, Old Hall at Alton Park? No. Druids. Is it the double apex right? Second last corner? Oh, that was cool as well. Yeah. Another quick corner. A lot of commitment required there. Donington, old hairpin's awesome as well. You know, the speed you carry there is crazy. Just flat out, down a gear, back on the power, drive through. So no, very, very cool cars to drive and require a lot of commitment, a lot of bravery, and a lot of skill. So yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Did you get a favourite circuit in the UK?
I really liked Snetterton actually. Snetterton, it seemed to work with me.
Good choice.
For the race weekend. The race weekend, it was wet, and I wasn't, you know, we didn't have the practice in the wet, so we weren't as quick as we'd like. But I think, you know, if it was dry, I would have had, you know, a good opportunity to be higher up than I was at some of the other circuits. Donington was also very cool. I think Alton Park was very cool for different reasons. It's a lot narrower, it's a lot more technical. And then Silverstone, awesome to drive on the GP circuit at Silverstone. It's so fast, so wide. Because
you did the GP.
The average speed, you really feel the average speed around there. Like you don't really feel like you slow down at any point. It's very cool. So yeah, just, you know, the whole calendar's actually really good. We're really blessed with some cool circuits in the UK. So yeah, very cool in general.
Yeah, well, obviously I'll start rounding up pretty soon, as I don't want to take too much of your time. Just to sort of finish off, obviously you've done lots of formula racing. What do you want to do next? What's in an ideal world? What would you love to do?
Ideal world, I'd love to have a second go at Formula 3. I think you know, given another go with all the experience I've taken from this last year in Formula 3, but also my first year in cars. Obviously, unfortunately, Landon's no longer around in Formula 3, so, you know, a different team, it could be interesting to see what we could do with a different team, different setup, and that would be cool. But I think, you know, at this stage, I don't think I've got the opportunity, both financially and also, you know, I'm getting, I'm quite a lot older than a lot of the drivers. A lot of the drivers driving at sort of 16, 17, and 18. I'm 23 now, so looking for opportunities wherever I can, really. You know, what would I like to do? There's loads of things I'd like to do. I'd love to race in the British Touring Car Championship. I think that sort of dogfight type, you know, close racing would really suit me. I've done a lot of my karting in hire karts and reverse grid races and stuff like that. So really getting stuck in and overtaking would be really cool, like they do in the touring cars. I think proper racecraft is one of my strengths. I'd love to be able to show that. but other than that, it comes down to I really enjoy racing. I really enjoy driving. I'm going to be driving whenever I can, however I can, in whatever I can, for whoever I can, whatever's available. Just take every opportunity as it comes. So, yeah, those things I'd love to do. But to be honest, as long as I'm driving, I'm happy. I want to drive at the highest level I can because that's where I get the most enjoyment. And also I want to, show what I can do. I'm a sportsman. I'm a competitor. That's what I like doing. And yeah, so I suppose touring cars would be cool. I'd love to drive some single seaters again. Whether that's possible, I have no idea. But if not, then I'll definitely set up for some karting. I love karting. That's where I've come from. Whether that's hire karting at my local circuit, Club 100, or hire karting like that, or X30 or whatever. We'll see. At the moment, nothing planned. Obviously, lockdown in the UK means that we're pretty restricted. And but as the year sort of sorts itself out, I'm sure I'll sort something out, and we'll see where we end up. But yeah, that's just as long as I'm driving, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much for coming on and getting involved. This has been absolutely brilliant, and I'll see you soon. I'll keep track of what you're up to, and yeah.
Thanks very much. Well, thanks for having me on.
No worries.
I think it's really cool what you're doing. So yeah, keep interviewing people. If it's what you enjoy, then carry on doing it. And if you can make something of it, then awesome. But I'll if you need anything, just let me know. I'll help you out however I can. And yeah, hello to everyone at home who's watching. I hope you all stay safe.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
See you later.
Cheers, Piers.